All right, so I am building assets to kind of crumble away my Zeus facade here. And hitting Command X. And hitting Command V to paste it in. And then moving them into place. So the first thing I want to do is kind of shatter this. So I'm going to take these different assets that I've built and kind of move them a little bit. Select them. And unfortunately, everything moved a little. So, go back a few steps. That's when everything moved. There we go. Okay. So, always kind of understanding what you have first, that's important, because I moved the wrong layer, and I don't want to mess up assets and not understand it. Okay, good. So I'm good here. I can do it that way. So I've got them in the different pieces. And now I'm just going to slightly offset them, moving them down and out so they're a little shattered. Like so, right? And to really heighten that, because this was my last frame, this, right? To really heighten it, I can add drop shadows to them with layer styles. I'm going to do this in my asset so those drop shadows stay there through all the frames. And I'm going to spread them out so that they look like very separate parts, right? And I want to make them noisy. Maybe not super noisy, but a little noisy. So it's like they're sending dust. Now what's great about layer styles is I can then copy that and then add that to all the others. So paste layer style, right click, and paste layer style. And then right click, paste layer style. Okay. So what that does is that makes them look a lot, ooh, makes them look pretty different. With that drop shadow. Now I want that drop shadow to be universally from the top. And so maybe instead of size, I want to play with spread. and distance. There we go. It's a little bit more graphic and clean. There it is. So now I'm going to paste that one. So copy that and paste it on. This is going to make a difference. And it will overwrite the others. Okay, so now it's a little bit more similar to this. It's just showing that that is now kind of shattering. And it looks like it's dropping. But that's mostly because of the big shadow underneath. And it's going to start to fall away. So this will be my next frame. I also think I want to darken everything a little bit. So how can I do that? Easiest way is to actually add just a slight color overlay to each one. That's a little bit darker, right? At a low opacity. Like this. And then I'm going to copy that layer style and then add it to each one. So this is, again, just building assets, but this time I'm using layer styles to give me a little bit more. Which one's missing? This one's missing. But I can vary it. So I can vary the opacity on different parts. So I'll keep it a little bit brighter at the top. A little bit brighter here. A little bit brighter here. A little bit darker there, maybe. Okay, so now that looks a little freaky, which is kind of the point. So it goes from this now to this. Like it's kind of shattering. There's that crack down the middle. So how do I merge this? Go to my topmost visible layer, hold down Option, say Layer Merge Visible. Select all, Command A, Command C, copy all, move to my stage, Command V, paste it in. Okay, good. Now things need to start dropping. So Command D to deselect, clear that. Now I'm just going to start moving these. I'm not going to duplicate them each time because I'm getting near the end and I know I can recreate their placement. Because I'm not going to rotate them or transform them, I'm just going to move them. So I'm going to move this one down. Right? I'm going to move this one down and to the right. I'm going to move this one down and to the right. And then what do I do with this original? This original one, I'm going to play with its color overlay, make it a little bit darker as I move those down. So the contrast of what it's revealing is a little bit clearer. I also want to look at what it's revealing, and I want to make sure that it is as clean as I want it to be. So to make that easy, I'm going to put all of these, I'll call it charcoal assets, mark it gray. I can just put in a folder so I can turn them off and reveal. And I want to make that a little bit stronger. So how can I do that? I can add a layer style to it. So what can I do? Maybe an outer glow, right? And then I can play with its size. Yeah, this is like, exactly, yeah, it's kind of that effect. And then the contrast is pretty washed out, and I think that's because of this, right, this effect. So I'm also going to dampen this, and maybe start dampening that, this one. Dampen that opacity. So it's at 24, I'm going to take it down to 15. So that everything kind of darkens. And then what else can I do? I am going to maybe just use adjustments and levels and deepen. I on the wrong layer again. There we go. Image adjustment levels. Remember, all these tools are still helpful to you just to deepen the shadows. So that's pretty strong reveal when it gets revealed. And I can do other layer style effects, like maybe a stroke around it on the outside. Not in love with it yet. Maybe try centering it. Get a little bit thinner. No, don't need it. I'm going to show you another technique. This is called offsetting. So cancel. I'm going to duplicate it. And on the one behind, I'm going to add an effect which is called color overlay. And I'm going to make it solid black. Actually, I'll leave it on dissolve. That'll be nice. Okay, now I'm going to take that and I'm going to grow it behind. So that gives it a little bit extra graphic impact, right? And why does that matter? Well, because this is always going to be showing as I build these layers, right? Like the little edges of that are going to be showing. So I need to have that all figured out. Again, thinking ahead. See, there's just a slight difference, but it would look weird if it wasn't there from the very beginning. Okay, so this is my next frame. That was weird. Oh, you know why it looks darker and brighter? This is something that happens when you use dissolve. It's called a moire effect within the layers, but don't worry, the pixels are staying put. So even though it looks lighter there and darker here, that's just the moire effect happening. Okay, so now I go to my topmost visible layer, hold down Option, Layer, Merge Visible. Now we can move pretty fast. Command A, Command C, paste it in. Boom. Now, Command D to deselect, clear that, take the opacity down a tiny bit more. Now I go to my charcoal, and these each get moved a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. And they can even kind of overlap each other. So they don't need to continue in the same direction, right? It's kind of gravity. And then maybe another big chunk needs to fall off, right? So I take this one and I break it up. And Command X, Command V. And this starts to fall away. And I'm going to play with its shadow, right? So I copy the layer style, paste it on. And I'll play with how dark or bright that is. And that starts to fall. And this, I'm thinking, is my next layer. From this to this, right? So topmost visible layer, hold down Option, Layer, Merge Visible, Command A, Command C, paste it onto the stage. And now I'm going to just start moving them all together. So Command D, delete that merged one, take all the charcoal layers, and now just start moving them together. But as they fall all together, I'm just going to start transforming them and tilting them a little bit. And maybe moving them at slightly different rates. This is all kind of physics engineering, depending on the material, but I think it will look okay. And animators will sometimes like do little experiments and actually shoot footage of certain things and like how dust might fall or ash might